my name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here then welcome to my channel, and today's video is going to be my June 2025 reading wrap-up. It was Pride Month. It was a very heavy audiobook month for me, and yeah, there's just a lot to talk about in this video. I will have the content warnings to the things I can find linked down below in the description along with links to some resources, and let's go ahead and get into it. And we are going to start with volumes 1, 2, and 3 of The Moon on a Rainy Night by Kuzushiro. And The Moon on a Rainy Night follows a high school girl named Saki who has a chance encounter with a classmate whose music dreams were complicated when an accident almost completely took her hearing. And although this girl tends to push people away with her icy demeanor, through one kind gesture, Saki is able to slowly begin to break down her walls. This series is a part of my 2025 manga TBR, which is a TBR that I started in June with this series. And it's one that I fell in love with almost immediately. I really like the art style, but what I love the most is the relationship between our two main characters here. They have just so much chemistry, and the series has a lot of charm to it in general in its humor, and that is also very much present in their relationship as well. And I also really like them both individually as characters, and the story is focused on their relationship, but it's also about Saki trying to figure out and learning how to be an ally and a friend, while also just trying to figure out her own queerness and what that means for their relationship together. And then there's Kann herself, who is opening up to others and making friends while still dealing with past trauma. And there's just a lot of what feels like setup for what feels like is going to be really good character growth and coming of age themes, and I love it so much. There is some angst and some drama as well, but it's also just a sweet little series. I like them a lot, and I could very easily see the series be a 5-star read for me by the time it's all said and done, and I'm just really excited to keep reading it. Next up, we have I'll Be the One by Lyla Lee, and this follows our main character Sky, who is determined to enter the world of K-pop and break all of the rules that society has set for girls with her body type. She enters an internationally televised competition that is looking for the next K-pop star and nails her audition. And afterwards, she is immediately swept up into a whirlwind of reality television, both the things that she expected and the things that she didn't. And we follow Sky as she strives for her dreams of becoming the first plus-size K-pop star while trying not to lose herself in the process. This one is also from my 2025 TBR. I read-flipped the script by this author a while ago and loved it so much. So my hopes were very high going into this, and it's a book that I've owned for a really long time as well, so there has been a lot of time for my brain to build up hope and build up excitement for this. And I do think that it did live up to those expectations for me. Mostly. It is incredibly cheesy in ways that are both cute and fun, and also in ways that are just too cheesy at times. And they do unfortunately tend to lean more towards the too cheesy side of things for me, to the point where things felt so unrealistic that it was kind of taking me out of the story sometimes. That being said, there is a lot that I really liked here as well. I really like Sky. She's super talented and fun. I love seeing her stand up for herself against all of the hateful people that she unfortunately has to deal with throughout the story. And I also just really loved how she celebrated queerness throughout the book. It was really cute and it made me smile. And I thought the romance was super cute as well, and I mostly enjoyed the reality competition show aspect of this. Again, mostly. Again, it was just too cheesy for me at times, but this book overall was a very cute and very fun beach read. And the cheesiness also did help with that in a way, so while I didn't love this book as much as I loved Flip the Script, I still enjoyed it, and I ended up giving I'll Be the One by Lyla Lee 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next up, we have The River Has Roots by Amal El-Mohtar, and this takes place in a small town on the edge of Fairy where the Hawthorne family tends to and harvests the enchanted willows and thanks them with their song. And this follows the family's 2 daughters when one of them rejects a forceful suitor for a lover from the land of Fairy instead, risking not only her bond with her sister, but also her life. This is the first of many audiobooks that we are going to be talking about today, and from an audiobook perspective, this was incredible. There's a lot of added music and atmospheric sounds, and the narrator has a really amazing singing voice, and it was just an incredible, beautiful, and immersive experience from an audiobook perspective. But otherwise, I thought the story and the world and the magic were interesting. I wasn't too interested in the characters or the romance though, which did carry over into my interest level in the story itself at times, but I liked it, and I liked how it all came together, and yeah, it is definitely a really beautiful audiobook, and that is definitely definitely factored into my rating here, because without the added elements, we're probably at like a 3 to a 3.5 out of 5 stars, but with them, I ended up giving The River Has Roots by Amal El-Mohtar 4 out of 5 stars. Next up, we have Love and Focus by Lyla Lee, and this follows our main character Gemma after her boyfriend of 7 years breaks up with her, and she is a relationship columnist who is now convinced that real love doesn't exist and has never had any luck with either women or men. However, when she gets paired up with a world-renowned photographer for a potentially career-saving piece on modern love, she sees this person as somebody who could be the perfect collaborator and also the perfect rebound. But the problem is that this person is also the ex who broke her heart back in college. And as they struggle to keep the relationship professional, Gemma has to decide whether or not she can trust her to feel the same this time around. This was one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and like I said earlier in this video, I loved Flip the Script by this author. And I mentioned this in my mid-year book freakout tag video, but this is unfortunately one of, if not my biggest disappointment of the year so far. And that's not to say I hated it. I gave it a 3-star rating, but when I wrote my thoughts down on this book in my reading journal, I did question that rating some. I mean, I liked Gemma, her relationship with her friends was cute, and I liked the focus that this book had on her career, and I thought that she was easy to root for even if I didn't always agree with her choices. And by that I mean her love interest, because I really did not like the romance here, which is so disappointing for me because like I said, I was really excited about this book and I was really excited about the romance going into this. This is a second chance romance, and in this case, I just don't really get it. I don't really feel like we got enough of their past together for me to get it or really understand it, nor was I really all that into the relationship in the main timeline either. Like, did they have a couple of moments that I liked? Sure. But the end portion of this book also went way too fast for me, and that was a huge part of the problem for me and this book, because that end portion felt really important. And I also just really didn't like Celeste. And as I've seen many reviewers call out already, Celeste does make a biphobic comment towards Gemma, who is bi. The author is also bi. But it was something that I found really off-putting for her as a character, and it happens almost immediately after meeting her. And the two of us just never really recovered from there. It's alluded to that she's changed her way of thinking at some point, but it's also not super addressed in the way that I would have liked it to be, and in a way that I think maybe would have helped me a little bit more with her character. But I don't know, I didn't really gel with her even outside of that either. This is another book that I thought was kind of too cheesy at times, to the point where I was unfortunately kind of cringing a little. And I don't know, I might change my rating for this book later, but I also do want to trust the rating that I gave this book when I finished it, because I was invested in this story. There were things that I liked, there were things that I had fun with, but there was also just so much else that I really didn't. Next up, we have The Brides of High Hill by Nevo, and this is the 5th book in the Singing Hills cycle. Again, I listened to it on audio, and it follows Cleric Chi as they accompany a bride to her wedding to a ruler of a crumbling estate, and despite the extravagant welcome that they receive, they soon realize that something is haunting the halls. I think I said the last time that I reviewed a book from this series that I was thinking about taking a break from it, and yeah, that break only really lasted like a month, and it honestly didn't even really feel like a break at all, because it just kind of feels like the speed that I have been reading this series at, if not faster. But I also said in that video that I thought that I was going to really like this book based off of the description, and I am happy to report today that is true. I did really like this book. I don't think that I liked it as much as I liked When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain from this series, but it is the closest that any of the books from this series have gotten to my enjoyment for that book. And what I like the most about this book is just how it all came together, and the mystery and the atmosphere. The end portion of this book also had me absolutely hooked, and looking back on it, I do really appreciate like all of the things that this book did to build up to that end portion. Even if at the time the beginning did feel a little bit more slow to me, and I wasn't as interested in it as I really wanted to be, we definitely got there eventually, and I ended up giving The Brides of High Hill by Nevo 4.25 out of 5 stars. Next up, we have The Romantic Agenda by Claire Kann, and this follows our main character Joy, who is in love with her best friend Malcolm. And this is something that she has been keeping a secret from him, as she has just never really been brave enough to tell him. However, when he invites her on a weekend getaway to meet the new love of his life, who is somebody that she had no idea even existed, Joy decides that this trip is her last last chance to tell him how she feels. This is another one that I listened to on audio, and it has been a while since I've read Let's Talk About Love by this author. But I had good memories of it. I've been wanting to read more of this author for a while now, and this one looks summery, so I went for it. And this was super messy, but I was also just so invested in it and all of the drama. They definitely put me in a mood. But again, it's because I was invested that I was having like actual feelings about their behavior. And frustrated or not, in a mood or not, I still had so much fun with this book. Even when I was annoyed, which was more often than I would have preferred for sure. But our main character, again, although frustrating at times, had a really fun personality. I really liked her. Both her and Malcolm are also asexual, which was cool, and I also ended up really liking the romance a lot. They had a lot of really cute moments. And I really liked their banter and just their dynamic as a whole, and while I did really enjoy the friendships in this book, they were a little bit more difficult for me to get into due to like all of the drama and messy behavior. But there were for sure moments, so yeah. Really fun summer read, but also kind of frustrating, and another one that I also kind of thought was too cheesy at times. So I ended up giving The Romantic Agenda by Claire Kann 4.25 out of 5 stars. Next up, we have Faebound by Saara El-Arifi, and this follows our main character who is a warrior for the Elven army, and when a mistake lands both her and her sister in exile, they encounter the Fae Court, who haven't been seen for a millennium. And as they get more involved in their world, the two sisters find themselves torn between their home, their hearts, and their loyalty to each other. This book took me forever to finish, and I have no idea why, but yeah, I started this one on the last day of March and didn't finish it until late June. And this was in my spring and also my 2025 TBR. I really wanted like a pretty atmospheric fantasy from this book, and it didn't give me everything that I wanted in terms of that, but it also gave me other things, like a fun group dynamic and banter. I also really love Lettel as a character, and I liked both romances here. I also thought the world and the setting was interesting. It did feel a little bit basic to me at times, and that also kind of goes for the story itself. Like, there were a lot of moments in the middle of this book where I was just unfortunately kind of bored, but there were also moments, especially towards the end of this book, where I was fully invested. And I was just kind of left with mixed feelings on this book overall, and I ended up giving Faebound by Saara El-Arifi 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next up is the Luis Ortega Survival Club by Sonora Reyes, and this follows our main character who is mostly ignored by her peers as she is an autistic girl who never talks. And when the popular guy at school begins to pay attention to her, she finally feels seen, but everything changes when they have sex at a party, which is something that she didn't say yes to. Rumors begin to spread about her throughout the entire school, and one day she finds a note in her locker that leads to a group of students who are looking to expose him for the predator that he is. This was also in my spring TBR because I really wanted a queer coming-of-age YA story, and this was that, and I loved it. But I also really love The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School by this author, so I'm not really surprised by that at all. I really loved our main character here, and I love the friendships that were formed here, and just seeing them all bond and work together and just fight back. They all really came to life for me. And as you could probably tell by the description of this book, it definitely has a lot of really heartbreaking and heavy stories and topics, and just also a lot of really awful people in it as well. It is definitely not always an easy read, that's for sure. And it was also just super heartbreaking and emotional overall. Our main character also has complex family dynamics that she's dealing with as well, and I just loved all of the moments of happiness that this book carved out for the characters. And I also really liked the romance. It was super sweet. And yeah, I read this because I wanted a queer YA coming of age book, and this felt like that. And it gave me exactly what I wanted when it comes to that, and also exactly what I wanted when I first read the description. I also read this book all in one day because I just didn't want and also couldn't put this book down. It is one that is going to stick with me for sure, and I ended up giving the Luis Ortega Survival Club by Sonora Reyes 5 out of 5 stars. Next up, we have Restart After Coming Back Home by Cocomi. And this follows our hot-headed main character who left his home in the country for Tokyo, only to return home at the age of 25 after being fired from his job. And it is there that he meets a man his age who was adopted into his hometown after he had already left, who is super sweet but is hiding his own pain as well. I was expecting this to be cute, but I don't think that I was fully prepared for just how cute and how much that I ended up loving it. Like, I picked this up because because of the cover, it looks super sunny and summery, so it was more than time. And I thought that the beginning of this volume was fine, but I do think that the series does have some pacing issues or just time jumps that weren't fully clear, or just weren't always super clear to me at least, so that was kind of confusing in the beginning. And I just wanted them to slow down a little bit more and really develop the relationship because I was worried about it feeling underdeveloped. But that was the beginning, and I do mean like the very, very beginning, because I'm not exactly sure when it happened, but I was absolutely destroyed by cuteness with this volume. And I got into this relationship pretty easily. There's also a focus on loneliness and feeling lost that really resonated with me as well. It just also felt refreshing to read characters who are 25 at the beginning of this. I'm turning 25 in like a week and a half at the time I'm filming this. And yeah, this just ended up working its way into a very special place in my heart. And I do really like the relationship that these two have together. It's grumpy sunshine, it's best friends to lovers. Two of my favorite tropes, and there are some really cute panels in here and just moments all around. Like, I couldn't stop putting tabs in here. Like, I usually try to be picky when it comes to when and where I place tabs while annotating, but this just had so many good and cute moments that like I couldn't stop myself. Like, I have 9 tabs in a single volume of manga right now, and that feels wild to me, but also it feels so deserved. It was so slice of life and so relaxing and comforting, and I don't know, I just really loved it. I know it's not perfect, I do, but like I said, it has a special place in my heart. It kind of ended up meaning a lot to me in a way that I didn't expect. So I gave it 5 stars. It also has a sequel that I almost read immediately after finishing this, but that I decided to save for like a special little gift to myself on another day, assuming that it's still good. I've been betrayed before. I'm a little bit worried about that for kind of no reason but like past experiences. So I'm hoping that this is also just like not one of those cases because I love this so much. And now it is time for the rest of the manga, and these are all of the manga series that I'm currently caught up to and reading as they update over on the Shonen Jump and K-Manga apps, including from Shonen Jump chapters 127 and 128 of Kaiju number 8, chapters 198 to 201 of Blue Box, chapters 160 to 164 of Akane-banashi, chapters 81 to 84 of Kagurabachi, and chapters 36 to 40 of Ichi the Witch. And from K-Manga we have chapters 25 and 26 of Galaxias, chapters 152 to 154 of The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, chapters 136 to 138 of Gachiakuda, and chapters 180 to 182 of Windbreaker. And my favorite from all of those series that I just listed is probably Blue Box this month. They were really cute, as they tend to be. There was also a focus on like a couple of the side couples that I really liked, and I also just enjoyed the friendships and the moments we got from the main romance as well. And my runners-up are Gachiakuda, who is just consistently really good, and also Akane-banashi, who I thought had some really good chapters, and I was interested in the characters and the storyline more so than I usually am. Okay, so that is all that I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer the question that'll be around here if you want to do that, and hopefully I will see you here next time. Bye!